Yeah, man. Uh, you know what it is. Your boy G Bush back at it again. Another episode of Cavs Overtime. Cavs lose a tough one. Lose a tough one on the road to the Atlanta Hawks 116 to 124. Cavs right now lose two in a row. Lost the other night to the 76ers. But I tell you what, when we look at this thing, Trey Young came up and did what he needed to do, man. 2 games in a row. You see guys like Trey Young. You see guys like Joel Embiid. You see guys in that playoff atmosphere. And right now, this is exactly what the Cleveland Cavaliers need. This is exactly what the Cleveland Cavaliers need in order to get these guys ready for the playoffs. As welcome on in, my name is G Bush. You know what it is. Cavs Overtime. We're going to get right off into it. Got a couple of guests coming on the VIP hotline. As always, man, if you want to donate on Cash App, you can do so at GBush91. You can also do that on definitely do that on YouTube as far as super chats go. Cavs lose a game tonight. Once again, Cavs lose 116-124 to the Atlanta Hawks. And I had a bad feeling about this joint. I ain't going to lie to you. When I was getting ready and preparing for this show, come on in, sit down, let me know if everything's good. Salute. Shane, what's good? We in here already. B Skrills, come on in. Everybody come on in. But when you saw this game, I knew this game was going to be one of them games. You know, Jarrett Allen is a guy he's going to be in the All-Star game. Not saying that plays any role one way, shape, or form with he came out and he played or whatever. Not saying that he's out here gassed up and pumped. But, I mean, this is a young team and All-Star break coming up. You got people announcing stuff left and right. All-Star game is coming on. And you got the Hawks on the road. Now, granted, you should be already ready to go with Trey Young in the building. I mean, he showed you what it was. He showed you what it was today with Trey Young and what he's able to bring to the table with as far as his shot making goes. And the best thing that could have ever happened for the Cleveland Cavaliers is these 2 back-to-back games. And these 2 back-to-back games showed you something. And the reason they showed you something was this is the type of stuff you're going to have to deal with in terms of the superstars, the shot makers, the playmakers. Joel Embiid putting up a big night. You come back next game, you got Trey Young. And so we're starting to see that, we're excited. We happy. We love the Cavs. We love what they're doing. I think Karis LeVert was a great acquisition. I think they do a good job in bolstering the team. But by no shape or form is this going to be a cakewalk. You starting to see we missed a lot of playoff basketball here. A lot of people just tuning on in to the NBA for the last 3 years. But I'm going to tell you what, for the people who left when LeBron left and 2018 came around and left, and we look at 3-4 years later, this is the way the game's going to be played. As you can see, the foul disparity, the free throw line got us this game. The free throw line is what caught us. When you look at how many free throws they shot, how many buckets they got, you're going to see that every single game in the playoffs, every other day. That's what you're going to be able to get. And so for me, I look at this game and I look at it as a measuring rod game once again, because they have a guy who can go get them 40, right? They got a guy that can go get them 40. Trey Young, 41 points tonight. He showed you. To me, he's the baby Curry. He's the baby Steph Curry for me. He's a dude that I really feel like if you foul him and put him on that line, you're in trouble. I feel like if you can't give him no airspace, he's crafty with the ball. He's deadly off the pick and roll. And tonight you saw why the Hawks are the version of the Cleveland Cavaliers that we hope to get there. And without further ado, we might already got a VIP. We might already got somebody on the VIP hotline. Let's go to the VIP hotline. Caller, where you calling from and what you up to?
Yeah, this is Trent from Canton, Ohio.
Trent, what's going on, man? Listen, Cavs take a tough one tonight. What did you think of the game, man?
You know what? I think that they played pretty good. I think right now they're missing Larry Marketing. They're really missing Larry Marketing from the lineup. I think that LeVert had an off night. He had 9 points right now. I think they're virtually playing three guards at the time right now with LeVert, Okoro, and Garland. Garland had a big game, a huge game like he's been doing lately. He's an all-star himself, but I think they're really missing Larry Marketing in that big lineup they were playing before he got hurt. So, but you know what? I always say that the Cavs, they need to be able to beat teams like Atlanta, New York. If you're going to be that consistent team that's going to be competitive with the Milwaukee Bucks, the Miami Heat, even the Chicago Bulls, teams like that, they really have to beat teams like this. They have to beat teams like the Hawks, the Knicks, the Detroit Pistons.
Yeah, and to me, when you look at this, I'm looking for the growth, right? Obviously the Cavs are a big surprise for everybody that we got involved. I'm looking for the growth, and it's going to be a growing pains during along this process. But you're right. The way the Cavs have gotten to this point is they have traditionally over this last few games, they've been able to beat the Pacers. They've been able to beat the teams like you said, the Knicks. You've been able to beat the Hawks teams. Those are the teams that you get your record up. You get healthy on those teams, but you get that record and you kind of, bolster yourself and kind of give you that buffer. But then what you do is you try to be competitive with the big boys, right? You try to be competitive with the Sixers, the Nets. For you, what have you seen from the Cavs against the top-notch teams that may give you pause, or are you more confident that they can get out of some of the earlier rounds if they do see some of the lesser teams?
Definitely. I think that they play very hard against those upper echelon teams. I really do. I think the next level for them to take is to be able to be consistent in playing and winning against the teams they should win against. And that's like a learning curve for a young ball team because when they're coming out and they're winning at a high level, one of the biggest things are being focused on winning those games that they're supposed to win. And I think that's the next level for their growth. Because, the playoffs is different. As everything slows down. All the stars are out. All the number one ball players or each team, they're going to come out. And the game becomes a half-court game. So the biggest thing is I just want to see them to continue to grow defensively because it's going to be different animal in the playoffs. You're going against Giannis and those primetime individual scorers. And with the Cavs right now, even though Garland is scoring at a high level, when it comes to the playoffs, a lot of those teams have guys that can go get them 35, 40 at any time. And I don't believe we have that yet. That's why I believe we have to continue to work on our defense to combat against those guys in the playoffs.
Listen, I totally agree, man. And before I let you go, get up here, I'll ask you a little question about Mobley. The thing about Mobley right now is it looks like he's hit a bit of a wall. Not that his game is fallen off or anything. I just think when you keep continuing to add pieces in, I think a young player, I think he's a savant when it comes to learning and picking the game up quickly. I think that, with any lineup, it takes them like 2 or 3 games to adjust to what they're doing. I think it's going to be a great opportunity for them to go over the All-Star break and really work, like you said, get marketing back, get the big lineup back, and then find out where you get your shots at. What areas on the floor, because Caris LeVert is a new guy. So when those spots are being occupied, where do you get your shot? Where does Mobley get a shot? Where does Jarrett Allen, how do they work the high-low? So I think when that happens and when that comes together, I really think that they'll get back on track. And what are your thoughts so far about Mobley and just what he brings to the table so far?
Hey, man, I really think that he's an up-and-comer, a big-time player and an up-and-comer. He has a high IQ, as you can see him on the court. He's a defensive player, a defensive-minded player. And right now, I still think that offensively, he's not even where he's going to be 2 to 3 years from now. Once I think he put some weight on him, because right now he's playing a little, light in the britches, as they say. Once he puts some weight on him, and once he actually gets fine-tuned to the NBA game, right now he's averaging about 15 points a game as a rookie, which I didn't expect that coming into this year. So right now, I think that he's still trying to find his way offensively.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, defensively, he's more better defensive player right now than offensive-wise. But I give him a year or two, man, and I really look for him to be one of the premier big men in the NBA, period. Because right now, defensively, he's theirs.
Hey man, Trent, as always, appreciate hearing from you. Keep in touch. We'll it's always 330. You know what it is down there. We'll keep in touch with you. Appreciate you, bro.
You already know, man.
All right, man. That's Trent down there already in Canton, already showing that love down there. Once again, I've always said, and I've said this before, if you are interested, and wanting to be on the show, getting your opinion heard, as Trent was, as we got another guest coming up here in a couple of minutes. We should have somebody checking back in. If you want, let me move this comment. Let me move to Trey Young drops 40 so y'all can get that. If you want an opportunity to come on and talk about it and give your comments and your feedback on the Cavs game, the VIP hotline is here. We're the first people doing this. Ain't nobody taking no live calls. We the only people doing this over here. So if you want to get that, please go ahead, write this number down. I should have put it on a banner somewhere. You know what? We might do that quickly. This is how easy this happens, right? And you're gonna hear me typing though. Look at that. This is what you can do when you want to do a live show. Let me see if I spell it right. There it is. There it is. Boom. Add the banner, show the banner. If you want to be on the hotline, like we got somebody coming up on the hotline right now, if you want to be on the hotline, get your stuff ready. Get your stuff ready if you want to be on the hotline.
Press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Let's go right back to the hotline. Bring back in the hotline. Who we got on the hotline right now?
This is BP and Pepper Pike. How you doing?
BP, what's going on, man? What's going on, my guy? BP and Pepper Pike.
Hey, G. Bush.
He hit the lineup, and really quickly here before we get to you, BP, we want to say that if you want to get involved, if you want to get and be heard on the show, if you want to be heard, you hit me up at 5thdimensionmedia1@gmail.com, 5thdimension1, 5thdimensionmedia1@gmail.com, and you can get your stuff heard just like BP and Trent today. So let's hit back to the hotline. BP, what's going on, man? Your thoughts on the game?
Well, Phil, first of all, G. Bush, thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it. It's always great to, mix it up with you. And it was a disappointment. I was hoping, I had a feeling I was going to call in with you tonight. I was hoping the Cavs would have had a good win, but right off the bat, Atlanta was unstoppable. Trey Young and
were they?
Gallinari, and I was gonna ask you, in the long run, who would you rather have as your starting point guard? Would you rather have Trey Young or Darius Garland?
That's a hard one, man. Trey Young is already solidified. Like, I think Darius Garland is a nice enough up-and-coming ball player. I think Trey Young is different. But I do think that right now, even though if you ask me right now, I'd probably take Trey Young, and a lot of GMs and guys would. But I think Darius Garland's not that far behind him. I think Darius Garland, in a little bit of this game, he went shot for shot with Trey Young, and he his game around the basket, floaters, teardrops, he has all of that in his back pocket, and he's shooting the ball better. But right now, I think Trey Young is a more dynamic passer. He's automatic to the line, and we know what his range is. But both of them being all-stars, but I think Trey Young just showed you the type of shot making you're going to have to make it in playoffs.
No, I agree with you on that take. And my biggest takeaway from tonight was I'm a little bit disappointed with J.B. Bickerstaff, the way he doles out the minutes to guys. To me, it's like he sticks with Dean Wade, way too long, Okoro, way too long. Even Rondo was out there.
Yeah.
To me, Rondo, he's a good guy, but, he's really on the backside of the career, and Dean Wade is just a role player. And, LeVert, when I look back at the highlights with LeVert when he played in Brooklyn with Jarrett Allen, those two are really good together with alley-oops and, passes and easy putbacks. And, I don't know. LeVert almost is like for a little bit of a forgotten man. I don't love the way they're utilizing him right off the bat. I think they need to figure it out a little bit better.
Yeah, I think after 2 games, I give JB and the staff a little bit of leeway here, because here's the thing: they're still going to have to introduce Lauri Markkanen back into this group, and then you have Markkanen who's coming back for he hasn't played in a while. Plus you have Karis LeVert, who's a new guy. I think, and I talked to Trent the last call. I really think that one of the things that, Mobley is looking at right now, and a lot of those other guys is, hey, how do I fit in? Where do I get my shot? How am I going to get over here? Am I going to be over here? What places they're going to be in? I think they need the All-Star break to just get in the gym, hammer out some plays, hammer out some sets where both guys will be featured. And I think, too, but I do agree with you. Sometimes the rotations right now, they're not going to be what they are in the playoffs. But then again, I don't think he has no choice. You can't play certain people at the same time. I think he has to ride with one of the hot hands in the playoffs. You'll see it. If Rondo's hot, that rotation is going to be, shortened up to 7, 8 men, possibly at tops 8. So whether or not you get something from Rondo, it might be D Wade, it might be Jetty one night. Kevin Love will be a mainstay off the bench, but it's about finding 2 other guys that can give you some energy, and whoever's hot, he'll roll with him, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that. And to me, it's just I think LeVert will play better at home. Also, these last couple of games have been on the road. Mm-hmm. Usually, like a new guy would play better at home. It's still everything's moving around on him, and I think he'll be a lot better in these. And remember, I completely agree with you about Mobley hitting the wall. I mean, the Cavs are about 35-20. They've almost played 60 out of 80 games
back to back.
So he's played way more than and I just think Mobley needs sort of catch his breath. He's done a great job. And even in this game tonight, he did really well. But I still think when you look at the more physical teams, they are beating on Mobley. When he gets the ball down in the low block, there's 2 or 3 guys pounding on his wrist.
Yeah,
I hope he doesn't get his wrist broken because he is pretty frail. And that's my biggest concern about Mobley is he going when he plays against PJ Tucker, those guys were whacking him pretty good. You know what I mean? And now Milwaukee brought in Serge Ibaka. It ain't going to be easy for the Cavs. I'll tell you that right now.
No, it's not. That's the game plan. He's going to see that. See, what he's going to have to do is, he's going to have to touch some weights. When he gets those weights, also, it's not so much of whether or not I need to be bulky up top. It's about whether or not I can control myself under the basket. Because they can move him off the spot right now. Right now, I saw where Clint Capella today, he got the ball about 16 feet. He backed in a little bit, but Clint Capella, with his superior strength being in the league, he forced him all the way out to 19, 20 feet. And he ended up having to pass the ball and swing it and keep moving the ball. But for Mobley, he'll be dominant where he can get that ball where Kevin Garnett did at the elbow or the nail and turn, make his move, pivot, pump fake, and that's his spot. Tim Duncan made a living down there. KG made a living down there. Some of those guys right there, even guards make their living down there as they get older. Paul Pierce and Kobe Bryant in the post game. So once he gets that, he's going to be out of here. He's already talented. He has great touch around the basket. But when he get that aspect, they ain't going to be able to see him. Not going to be able to see him.
And one thing I want to mention about tonight's game is I looked it up. Atlanta shot 27 free throws, and we shot 12. Free throws. Yeah. So that's a big disparity. That's 15 points that on their side. And you know what I mean? I think, if we play them at home, we win that game tonight at home. LeVert will shoot better at home and we'll get more foul shots at home. So, I'm not that upset about this loss tonight. You want to win them all, but it is what it is. Let me ask you this question really big before we let you go, BP. In terms of the seeding, do you think it's important for the Cavs to get a first round pick or not a pick? I'm sitting there like I'm talking about the Browns. I'm sorry. Do you think it's important that the Cavs get a first round bye in terms of home court? Because I think so too. I think
all the fringe players step up a notch. If you're a good player, good players can become great at home. Great players can become special at home. On the road is where you see people tailing off a little bit. Do you believe that, it's important for them to have a certain amount of, at least in the first round, have home court advantage?
Yeah, I mean, the first 4 teams, in the East will get home court advantage. And as you see, as I even mentioned on the radio with you on the fan, the Celtics have improved a lot. Toronto has improved a lot. They're charging at us. Brooklyn is, eventually they're going to get Durant back and they're going to be charging at us. You know what I mean? So Charlotte is still a good team. Atlanta's a pretty good team. There's a lot of competition here in this East.
Yeah.
So, and Boston tonight destroyed the Sixers by 40 on the road. Boston went into Philly and crushed them by 40.
Brown and Tatum can give you that 80. And we've seen here how good, even if you play an ISO ball, the Cavs played ISO ball for the better part of 2014 to 18, and we had 2 guys, LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, that can hit you for 80, 40 apiece, and it may not be pretty, but Brown and Tatum are one of those people that can get you 80, and nobody else has to get nothing off and can be successful.
Yeah. And the Celtics also made a good trade at the trade deadline. They brought in Derek White from San Antonio.
I like him.
They picked him up. Yeah, he's good. And he was on Team USA for a couple of years under Popovich. He's a good ball player. So, they still got, they got that Robert Williams. And so, the East it's going to be fun to watch for sure. So, hey, we'll see what happens.
Love you as always, BP. We're going to check back in with you. Always love your commentary. Love what you bring to the table. We'll be talking to you soon, probably this weekend.
All right, G. Bush. Yeah, we'll see it. We'll see you down at some of the events for the All-Star game.
Yeah, yes, sir. That's BP and Pepper Pike. Always hit me up on a fan. BP, Trent, thank you so much for being a part of the show. You can be a part of the show too. We equal opportunity around here, man. We give you an opportunity to give your thoughts. Go ahead and give you an opportunity to get your instant reaction on some of these games. And we're the only thing in town. We're the hottest thing smoking. VIP line, hotline 216-200-7859. You can also donate on Cash App at $GBush91 and on Super Chat as well. We will get to your reaction coming up right now. Let's go to some of the people that's been out here doing their thing. My man B Skrill says 2 trap games in a row. These games right here have been definitely games where I would say they're games that are set up for you to be like, I don't know what we're gonna do right here. I don't know what we're gonna do right here. This is gonna be a rough one. Let's continue to get better. But I think we need stuff like this. I'm hyped. I get hyped sometimes. I get excited sometimes. So trust me. They got Karis LeVert. I was hyped. Everybody's hyped. We pumped. We like, and he had the nerve to be a closer. He had a nerve to be a closer late in that game. But the thing is, that hurts you a little bit because now you want to be realistic about what the expectation levels are because this team had none. And now we can see for the beginning of the part of the year, we got to keep applauding them. Darius Garland, all-star. Jarrett Allen, all-star. You got to keep applauding those guys for doing what they do. Karen Phillips says, I absolutely love your channel. Thank you so much for the kind words. I appreciate you guys. After the Brown season, I wasn't doing nothing. I was just like, look, I was looking around and I said, come on, man. I was looking around. Did I meet myself? There we go. I was looking around, Karen, and I said, hey, man, somebody got to talk about these Cavs. We can go back and forth and talk about the Browns all day. You can, if you want to be in radio, all you got to do is roll the ball out and say, Baker Mayfield. If you want to just roll that ball out, Browns, Steelers. Anybody could be a radio host for the day, right? It's easy money, man. We all love to talk, but I think this is what's needed. And plus, you gotta stay well-rounded and offer different content. There's so many different things in my personality that I want to give to people and do different things. And speaking of, don't forget, make sure you go check out one of my new series out here on the channel is called Underrated. First person that we did, Braylon Edwards. A lot of people don't know a story. There's a lot of new Browns fans that came around. You know, we got decent. It's a lot of new guys on the bandwagon, and that's fine. We'll take all we can get. But Braylon Edwards is one of the first guys, and we'll do all kind of athletes, not just Cleveland, not just basketball, not football. We'll be doing all kind of different people. I thought it was poignant because, you know, the Browns had receiver problems in 2021. So I felt like, yo, let me put that out. Guys can, and it's not a thing where I'm doing it. It's just a thing where you can check it out. It's unique. It's strictly factually based. We try to come in and approach it from a historical vantage point, and we try to give you just strictly the facts, no personality stuff. So check out that series. Really put a lot of work in it, and we appreciate you doing that. You can check out and subscribe to the Barbershop Network as well. Let's continue to go on. Pressure Jones says foul calls in the third and fourth quarters were amazing. Man, you know, that's what you're gonna see. Like the NBA, at least the NBA is good crooks, right? The NFL, they wishy-washy. They'll decide to call a holding penalty and they ain't call holding the whole game. Then you ain't seen a holding penalty. All of a sudden you done grabbed them. You're like, you called that. You decided the game on that. That's what you were doing. It make you want to fight somebody. In the NBA, you know the great thing about the NBA is if you good, you getting that call. You just gonna have to be mad about it. Like if Trey Young then obviously got to a point where you can't do nothing no more. He like if you score 40, you got to the conference finals. It's like the NBA 2K ratings. At that point, they're like, oh, you almost a 90 overall? That's Trey Young. Give him that. Oh ball, he got it right here. You ever play with that dude on the playground? They always say, whole ball. Man, bro, you got to call that out, man. What you mean whole ball? Nah, bro, you had the last one. You had the last one, fam. Man, come on, man. Hey, man, Abdul Smith, my dude G. Bush out here covering basketball. Of course. Like, that's the thing. That's the thing. You got to watch people. I played for Canton McKinley varsity basketball. By the way, Canton McKinley is the #1 all-time winningest basketball program in the history of the game. Look it up. The #1 Division I. We got the most wins ever. See, we just don't play football in Canton McKinley. We hoop too. We play basketball. I played against Sam Clancy. I played against Jawad Williams. If you're in the Cleveland area, you know who those guys are. Steve Logan, you know who that is, right? The great Cleveland Heights teams. Come on, Damon Stringer. I got it. We got it all sold up. You didn't know. Now you know. You better ask somebody. My man Rob Cunningham almost forgot. We on now. Now we rocking and rolling, man. We rocking and rolling, and we recapping what's going on with these Cavs. Hey, we'll be here. You know, you can check in now. Don't worry. I'll be here tomorrow and the next day and the next day. It's all about consistency. It's all about consistency in this game, and that's what you got to do to stay consistent. Jarrett Allen still in a haze from that MB dunk. Hey, I tell you what, our Twin Towers saw what a grown man looked like, Julian. I'm gonna keep it real with you. Joel Embiid is I don't know who he thinks he is. He's Patrick Olajuwon or something, bro. This dude is Akeem Olajuwon and Patrick Ewing. This dude, I knew you was a beast down low, but you just Akeem dreaming, just and he got step back game. Come on, man. Come on. Somebody is using virtual coins to soup up his game because he's hitting threes now. He shoot about 80% from the line. Our big fellas need to be in that weight room. You remember back in the day when Michael Jordan, you know, the Pistons was beating him up good. And just think about that too. Go back to those old days. Not only were the Detroit Pistons goons, the Pistons were goons. The Philadelphia 76ers was goons too around that time. They had Hersey Hawkins, Daryl Dawkins. You know they had Charles Barkley. Moses Malone was still, but they were goons too. And on top of that, you had the Knicks. You had the X-Man, Xavier McDaniel, Oakley, Come on. John Starks was a glorified goon at guard. They had guards at goon. They had goon guards. Derek Harper there's like, we out here. Charles Smith, I've never seen a team have all power forwards. And these wasn't stretch forwards. These was bread and butter, brick power forwards. And they had 10 of them over there. But Jordan was getting beat up. They was knocking him down, putting him back on the line. He said, you know what? I'm going to leave this series and go lift these weights. Put 20 pounds on. He said, no more. That's what Allen and Mobley going to have to do. We got us a twin tower. We got us something like Duncan and Robinson. Now, don't get it twisted. None of those guys have the skill level of David Robinson. I mean, you know how hard it is for a post player to get 70-some points. David Robinson did that. He just wanted to be the scoring leader. He put it in the chat if you remember. I'm just talking. This is NBA stuff. He was going to be the leading scorer points per game, and they said, you know what? I don't like this. So this guy, David Robinson, the Admiral, goes out and gets 70. You know how hard it is to get 70 points as a big man? These is all 2-point shots, by the way, too. I digress. Talking and grubbing, what's good, man? How you living? What's up, G Bush? We out here just chilling, talking a little Cavs a little bit. Let's go. Embiid and Young showed the Cavs what a go-to guy can do and when it's needed. Man, Harry Baker, thank you so much for tapping in with us. Exactly, and this is why these games are very important. These are important for what you're going to do, because right now, if you look. And you take a look at what's going on, and you just look at the box score, the box score with the Cavs. Man, you look at this box score, and you look at what the teams are able to do. They lose 116 to 124, but even with that being said, you still look at what Darius Garland was able to do, and guess what? Darius Garland played well tonight. Darius Garland played well tonight, but it wasn't 40. And that's the difference. It's levels to this thing. Sometimes you're going to be in a place. Sometimes you're going to be in a place or have a situation in which you're going to have to score 40, 50 points. And I think the Cavs got a guy that can get them 30. I don't know if it's going to be a situation where you got a couple people that can give you 40 apiece. So we look at this, and this is a really you look at the box score right now, and you look at the box score from the game, and I'll pull this up a little bit. Let's see. All right. So right now, going into the All-Star break, you got Garland averaging 20. Jarrett Allen is averaging 16. Colin Sexton, who I hope is going to be back at one point in time, he's averaging 16. See, this is great during the regular season, right? As I'm reading this looks awesome. You got Darius Garland with 20, Allen at 16, Colin Sexton, who may come back or not, at 16. Evan Mobley's averaging 15 points a game. Karis LeVert is averaging 15. Kevin Love is averaging 14. Lauri Markkanen's averaging 13. Rubio's 13. He's no longer on the team with us anymore. But even down to Jetty, Jetty is averaging 11 points a game, right? These are the type of things that we're seeing, because now that sounds good. But when you need a bucket, when you need a basket, when you need to get off, when you need to, shot clock is trickling down. We got one or two passes. Who can get you that? And I think it's very important for that to happen. Let's see, man. My man Julian Anthony says, hell yeah, I remember David Robinson had a quadruple double on my G. Mobley got that type of potential, no cap. I totally agree with that. He does have that potential. Brant says, we look tired the whole game. This team needs a break. It's much needed. These young guys will learn. Wait till everyone gets used to the NBA like Mobley and Allen, but both potential heal up guys and regroup. I totally agree. That is something that break is needed. And I had this down here. These are a couple things that I had put on and looked at as reasons why I think this break is much needed. So we'll go through a couple of these, man. The first thing that you could tell these guys need a break, and I think that it's wearing on them, is the defensive rotations are off. Early in the season, the Cavs had crisp rotations. They closed out hard, but not fouling. I think they closed out on 3-point shooters very well. Now you're starting to see guys trickle late, guys wide open in the corner. Gallinari killed us today. He had a field day on us, and also what you can tell when teams are tired and it's just not, the guys aren't familiar with one another, is because now guys are gallivanting and saltering all the way down to they get into the rack, right? Before it was it was good solid defense at the point of attack. If anybody got beat, it was help side, and then it was one of the towers down there playing defense. That hasn't been the case for the last 3 or 4 games, and even in games they won. I mean, they were down to the Pacers 20 a couple times. So those are big things that I think that shows tired legs, not used to playing with each other, and I think that's something that they're really going to have to work on in the All-Star break, and I think they will. These last 2 games, as we spoke on before, definitely necessary. As long as the Cavs get into the playoffs, you got to think about it like this too. Think about what the Hawks gained by going to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. Think about what the Knicks gained by going to the second round last year. There's a lot of teams that have already, and the young guys have already been battle tested, already know what it feels like, knowing what that atmosphere feels like. People forget the Hawks are where the Cavs want to be. Hawks came from nowhere, made it to the finals, and they were a great story. But those teams have that pedigree. Those teams have that DNA, so to speak, and you can't replace that. Talent can't replace that experience of being like, wow. In the playoffs, it seems like nobody don't miss. Even the bums, role guys don't miss. Journeymen don't miss, especially at home. And then you got the dagger when dudes start being like, bang, and the crowd just goes crazy. That's worth 6 points right there. That's 10 points. He hits you with a bang. Bro, you're dead. You don't even know it yet. You in an M. Night Shyamalan movie. You don't even know you in the twist. Just twist. You're done. That is a finish move in Mortal Kombat. That is a hyper combo in MVC versus fighting game community. Y'all don't hear me out here. Y'all don't. I'm just talking. Y'all don't hear me. And All-Star break came right on time for the Cavs. Came right on time. I fully expect the Cavs to get marketing back. We're going to go to the large lineup again. We're going to be right back with that. We're also going to find the areas of the floor where we can get Karis LeVert the ball, we can rotate it to him, and we can still figure out how we can still have that ball movement. I think the ball movement was a little stagnant as well. I think the ball movement needs to be a little bit better. And I think they'll get that way, and it just takes some practice time to get there. Because I always say this, it could always be worse. You could be the Lakers. It could always be worse. You could be the Lakers. Because I don't have no faith in them. I know there's a lot of people that do not want any parts of, at least they ain't turning around with a guy getting a layup and everybody's looking at each other like, what we doing? Whose man is that? We don't want no parts of that, man. We don't want no parts of that. Yes, that's definitely something we do not want to get into. Let's go right back to let's go ahead and finish up. Let's go back to some of your comments, and we will get your comments on All-Star Weekend. I want to get really quickly talk a little bit about an All-Star game. We'll get up out of here and see what we got. My man Brett says, you don't want to play Issa in our house. I hope we can get a nice streak of wins like Phoenix did, get a 3 or a second seed because we're scary at home. That's another thing. That's one of the things I'm really excited about. If we do get that first round playoff, I think it's a great opportunity, and I'm looking forward to coming back here and talking to y'all guys and doing our thing, especially if it's playoff time, right? Can you imagine being right here, getting an opportunity to come on here and talk and be like, yo, you see these Cavs today, G. Bush? I sure did. I think they're going to be scary. I think that they could really be a team that can make some noise, but we just have to get through the growing pains. I want everybody to get to the end, I want people to get to the end of the road, and I want people to not, be hurt or be injured, hobbling down the line when we can get into the playoffs. I'm wishing for that health, and that's what I want to do. He says also Lakers down bad and everyone should be accountable, but instead people have scapegoats. Today's NBA media is cringe. They always have to be this guy or that guy or all the money. I wish would change. Hey man, for once, The Cleveland is a safe haven for that, right? You know, there's nobody on this team that I don't like. That's the great thing about watching the Cavs. They play the right way. They play hard. Nobody is tripping. Nobody's worried about a contract. Nobody, like, you know, guys are supporting each other, and it's a good group of guys, and they play the right way. That's why some, you know, you got to think about that. They say, G. Bush, why did you want to do a basketball show now? Out of all the years, you guys were competitive when LeBron was here. I said, bro, them years was nerve-wracking. You know how hard it is to cover a team, and they tell you nothing don't matter. All the regular season don't matter. All that matters is we playing Golden State. I only care about 2 games against the Warriors. That's what? We don't care about defense. We don't care about none of that. It's get a block. And trust me, these are some of the best years of my life. But here, this is just more. I can talk about the game. It's just more, it's more non-toxic. It's more laid back. It's something that I think a lot of people in Cleveland, it's a breath of fresh air. Now, going to the All-Star game, I do want to give you my best All-Star game memory. Now, when we look at the All-Star memory, I had to just go back, right? And I was thinking, and I should have probably put a video up of this, but I wasn't thinking, you know, how much was off the top of my head. All-Star Weekend is in Cleveland, and I want to say this. I got to give the flowers to this brother and understand, put the ones in the chat if you understand what I'm talking about. One of my best memories of All-Star Weekend it's around the time, I think it's had to be 98, 99, I'm not sure, is when Vince Carter single-handedly resuscitated the dunk contest. I watched this dunk contest and I was in the room. My wife was in the other room. And this dunk contest came on and I was looking around like, yo, I can't believe this is on. The dunk contest that Vince Carter was in, the man Vince Carter was in there with a primetime Stevie franchise. Steve Francis during that dunk contest was spectacular. Some of the stuff he pulled off in that dunk contest, Steve Francis was running around with Coutinho Mobley like they was brothers. Go back and watch. They was walking around. This dude, they was cackling and he-heeing all over the floor. I'm like, come on, Cat Mobley. You have some respect about yourself. I know that's your man's, but you ain't got to support him like that. Not only was he in that dunk contest, a prime time young T-Mac, with a young Tracy McGrady for the Raptors was in that dunk contest, and he was bona fide grade A box office. He had 3 or 4 dunks in that contest. Big dudes don't dunk. When big dudes dunk, T-Mac long, 6'9". You know when big dudes dunk, it don't got that same flair. It's a small dudes contest. We want to see the Muggsy Bogues. We want to see the Spud Webbs. We want to see the young dudes, the Nate Robinsons get up. Man, look. That dunk contest, it was more ridiculous than I really, really remember. The man, Vince Carter on his first dunk. Now you got to understand, this is like late 90s, early 2000s. So you got some of the best ever do. You got Shaq in the building. You got Kobe in the building. KG is in the building. Ray Allen is there. Paul Pierce is there. The big homie Tim Duncan is there wearing a regular flannel. Everybody else got gaiters and stuff on. Tim Duncan looked like he just came from work. They're like, Tim, you're rich. You're the best player in the league. Why do you got these dad jeans on? He's in there with dad jeans and looking terrible, bro. But he's in the building. Gary Payton, some of the old heads that's still there. Man, this cat Vince Carter had me jumping around like I had never seen this before. Like it was my first time seeing it. Seaman. This is the first time I'm seeing these dunks. No, it's not. I've seen this 100 times. And I just remember it just made me feel like I was watching the N1 mixtape like Hot Sauce, or when you had to go to the store and get the shoes and then you'd be like, you had to tell a guy and tap him on the shoulder like, yo, Joe, can I get that N1 mixtape over there? They used to give you the cassette. And then you walk away with the cassette and you put the cassette in and you say, who's this dude? Skip to my Lou. Who's this guy? They're like, it's a guy in New York. He's one of the greatest ever. Turned out to be Rafer Alston. Turned out to be Rafer Alston, the guy that killed the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2008 through 2010 for the Orlando Magic. Rafer, Skip to my Lou. But shout out to Vince Carter. If you don't know, for all you young guys, if you watch it, just go back and Google it. Watch it as an entirety. It's on TNT. Watch the whole thing. It is a joy to see. But that's all for me. That's all for me. It's a joy to hang out with you guys. Cavs lose again. Final score. Let's get the final score up there. I forget what it was. Cavs lose to the Hawks, 116-124. However, the Cavs do have two. We have a great season moving. We got Darius Garland in the All-Star. Make sure you support. Jarrett Allen in the All-Star. Make sure you support. Kevin Love looks like he could be a sixth man of the year. Support. And Evan Mobley looks like he could be a Rookie of the Year candidate, and JB Bickerstaff could be Coach of the Year. Let's go out, salute that. Salute him. Happy All-Star Weekend. Let's talk about the dunk contest. And if you don't know, follow me on Twitter at GBush91. I want to thank everybody for coming on, and it's time to get up out of here. Peace.